Smash Ultimate has 80 characters, and when you have 80 characters, not all of them are going to be unique. I feel like they wanted to make it a little bit better by making Echo Fighters, where they're not really completely new characters, but they're based off of original ones with like new models and such. And they kind of did that, but the ones I'm really talking about are clone characters, which have been a staple in Smash ever since Melee, pretty much. These are characters who ended up being clones, but really aren't as good as each other. And I think one or two changes that really affected them changed how far they are from each other on the tier list. Pikachu and Pichu are definitely a case of survivability being very important. They both can be very explosive, and they have crazy combos that can lead to death at early percents, but the main issue is that Pichu is so light and his hurtbox is just not small enough to avoid getting hit by a lot of things, and he just has very vulnerable spots. Back then, when his F-tilt was insane, and when he had a crazy T-jolt because he didn't take that much damage from it, he could camp, he could explode you, he can do everything that Pikachu technically can do right now. But now that his F-tilt got nerfed and his T-jolt is a lot less free to spam, it is really hard for Pichu to stay alive. Any lead he gets feels like he doesn't have it for long because he dies to 50 to most things in the game. He has an up B that is just so much worse than Pikachu's just because he will die going off stage against so many characters because he has there's like no risk to trying to hit him. Like, he can try some mix-ups, he has a long distance, which is great, but because he's like super easy to two-frame because of his hurtbox and that his up B has no hitbox, he can just die at ledge to so many characters that he should be bodying, like Rob or Pyramithra or any character that like should be easy for him to combo or cheese. He gets cheesed himself. It's very unfortunate how much he got nerfed, but I kind of get it. He was a menace when back then. Like, the footage I'm showing you right now was back when he was insane, back when Void was playing him, and Pichu was a menace, and he could do it. But it's just crazy how changing two big things, which keeps Pikachu's survivability so high, can ruin a character. Now, the difference between these two characters is very obvious, right? Marth has tippers, Lucina doesn't. And it might seem like that would be such a small change at the beginning of the game, but it just leads to consistency issues for Marth, because if you don't get the tipper, you don't kill till 180, and you're like, okay, then just make sure to get the tipper. But the things you have to get a tipper on aren't even that strong. Like, forward smash is very, very strong. And like, that is the one move that will just obliterate you at 40, and there are setups into that. But like F tilt, like a kill is at 120, which is pretty good at ledge. Like it's pretty solid. And then like up tilt also pretty good if you get the tipper at 100. You know, it's like these moves technically are stronger, but they're not so much stronger that it makes up for the fact that when he messes up or when he doesn't get that right hit, which is pretty easy not to get the right hit in Ultimate, just doesn't kill you until very late percents. Like, hurtbox shifting and just so many little things can make this character feel way worse than he actually should be. But he is. Like, I get it, because I still have some belief in Marth. I still think his sour spot into sweet spot combos are crazy if you get in the right positions, but he still has all the problems of a sword character, plus having to space way more than he does. Like, his grab still is not that great. He still has to be a sword with a juggling, or he still gets juggled because he's so floaty. He still has no projectile, so he has to be close enough to swing his sword. But you know, that's not usually an issue, except when you're playing any other sword character, they're all so fast, and they also have no problem with consistency, and they have broken moves. Like, why would you play Marth when you have Pyramithra or Cloud or Sephiroth? I mean, I think Sephiroth's worse, but that's maybe a hot take. Actually, no, I think Sephiroth's better. But you have Sephiroth and Chrom and Lucina and Pyramithra and Cloud and Roy, and like, just there's so many better, more consistent sword characters that his spot of just I can kill you early isn't really that unique. It's just adding more headache, and I think making design like this only worked in Smash 4 because he had consistent and easy to throw out setups into his early kill moves like jab, where he doesn't have jab anymore. If he had jab to side B or jab to up tilt or just like jab to stuff to poke, or like I know there's like I'm just hoping for something that's not going to be there anymore. But I do wish Marth was better because I think he's really cool, but unfortunately he's not. Next, we're going to be talking about Ken and Ryu. I think what the design really was Ken was supposed to be the combo variation of the Street Fighter characters, and Ryu is supposed to be the camping variation of the Street Fighter characters. And they can be played with that for the most part. Like, I think Ken's pressure is still insane, and I still think Ryu's Shaku makes it really hard to approach him. But I don't know. I feel like when I think about it more, when I watch it more, Ryu's combos are just as good as Ken's, if not better, because he can kill from them so consistently. Like his forward tilt to up air to up air to up air to up smash, or to down air, not up smash, to up B is really good and kills at 40 and is consistent because it doesn't have any follow hitboxes. It's just dumb. Like, Ryu has really dumb long combos that last a long time. Like, they might not be as like fancy looking as Ken's, but I mean, hey, back air down smash Saku or Tatsu still does like 49%. Like, it's still a lot of damage. This character is crazy. It seemed like that Ryu's supposed to be like straight up hits, while Ken still has like multi hits, which I think made it worse for Ken because his up B, while being very strong, does consistently be inconsistent. You do fall out a good amount just from like weird DI, weird hurt boxes, but Ryu's, you teleport to him. It's like his, if you even sneeze on his up B, he kills you. And like, it's just better. I think if you're trying to play one or the other, you would probably just play Ryu just because he's more consistent. But you know, I feel like in a game like this, we're counterpicking so much better because we're in a best of 5 meta, really. You can just play them both. There is a merit to playing them both, since Ken's pressure can be better against certain characters, and since Ryu's camping can be better against certain characters. And that's kind of what both FGC mains do for the most part. So this is kind of a good ending kind of thing. But I think if you really did choose one or the other, I would probably choose Ryu. And finally, we're going to be talking about Roy and Chrom. Chrom still has a lot of potential. He still has some of the best moves in the game. He still has F-tilt, he still has jab to back air, he still has a broken back air, he still has up B out of shield. He has a good amount of stuff that makes it so he could be a great character, but he's just good. Roy is broken, and the main reason is because of the recoveries. Of course, everyone knows, hey, Chrom, you send him off stage, he probably doesn't make it back versus a ton of characters. And the thing is that it just adds up. Like, it's not so much that, oh, it just makes him really, really terrible so he's unplayable. It just means that every matchup shifts. So if you're a character who probably would have struggled versus Chrom, like, I would say like Rob, right? Like, Rob could probably lose to Roy and Chrom both at the same time. But because of how Chrom's up B works, if Rob gets this hit, when Rob gets this hit, because he's Rob, he can take it to a stock almost consistently every time. There's no mix-up that will make it really hard for him to not get the stock. He can throw laser to be the up B, he can down air the air dodge in, side B the air dodge in, side B the up B. He can do so much, like gyro to cover it. There's just so many ways to kill Chrom that wouldn't work on Roy just because of the recovery. And that just keeps happening. Like, Roy Min, not very good. Roy Min Chrom, you think like are you gonna get off stage with Roy, you might make it back because of how your up B works. You go off stage as Chrom, you're dead. There's no mix up that you can do because it's so free. It's so free. You up B, if you're forced to up B, you die against so many characters, and it keeps happening. It keeps going. Snake probably be fine. Go off stage, get defeated. Mario probably would be great. Go off stage, get flooded. And it's just like, that's just how his matchups go. And like, it just makes your disadvantage worse because you have to save your jump so you don't die. And then if you do that, you're just getting juggled, or you have to go to ledge, but then you go to ledge, you might just die again. It just sucks. They could have made Chrom a lot better. They could have made Chrom an actual Smash Ultimate character, but that's just how it goes. If you change one person's up B to be Ike's, where it's like Ike without his side B, I don't see how he could make it back. he has so many good things going for him. So if he ever comes to another Smash game and they change his uppy, I know he's going to be a menace. But for right now, there's just no reason to play Chrom when Roy is right there. Given how this all goes, it just seems like survivability and consistency are the two things that separate these characters from each other. And it didn't really have to be that way. I think most characters would hope to be something like Ken and Ryu, where you could definitely find the merit of playing one or the other, but even if, you know, they toned down Ryu's combos a bit to not be true, I think it would have been a perfect balance for both of them, and they'd probably be in the same spot. Like that's like the closest they were to making two clones like really close to each other. But I think with the case of how Smash Ultimate goes and trying to find different styles, they could try to do a lot better, try to do something that, while it's not really a consistency issue, it's kind of a problem for people who play different mains. I really have a lot of faith. Like, I don't know if they're gonna bring Echo Fighters back. I'm not sure if they're gonna bring every character back. I'm not sure if they're gonna bring clones. But I think the beauty of being a clone isn't really that you're based off of another character, but like you're a different flavor, a different style of an already good idea. And I hope they just keep doing that for Smash Ultimate and bring clones that could be crazy. Like Sonic was pretty egregious, but imagine Shadow, who's like probably the most popular clone media character in video games, just being a better, not even just better, more fancy version of Sonic with cooler moves, just a different variation. There's just ways to make it work that aren't just making the character worse. And I know Smash can do it.